Good morning, everybody, and happy Tuesday. We're live here this morning, August 12th on Tuesday. I hope everyone's doing well, and I hope you guys can hear me as well. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Daily Trader. Good morning, Mark, JB, Lori, anyone else joining us here this morning? Don, excellent. It's good to have you guys. I'd like to get right to it and make sure we're staying on time. We've got a pretty busy morning this morning already. We'll talk about this chart here on your screen in just a minute. But quickly want to remind everybody what we're doing here. This is our Set the Market morning call. I'm Serge Berger from thesteadytrader.com. You will notice a couple of people from our team in the chat room, namely JB, our options and chart guru, Joel, my colleague on the relationship management front, and I think Christian is here as well. He's one of our analysts. So looks like we're fully staffed here this morning. Thank you all for being here. Serge Berger from thesteadytrader.com. Our morning call is going to start right now. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes. What we're going to do, in case you've never been here before, we're going to go through the top few things on my notepad this morning. And I'd like to start off with CPI, which you can look at the chart here. This is a live chart of the NASDAQ 100 futures. You can see we're getting overbought here intraday after we received a buy signal just before the report earlier this morning, and now we're coming down. So we'll look at that in a minute. I want to look at the S&P 500 versus the equal weighted S&P. I want to look at cannabis stocks, and we will look at a couple of momentum moves that are taking place as well. So pretty busy morning. Also, I should mention, please make sure you subscribe to our channel. It's absolutely free. It's going to keep you updated in real time when we go live with analysis. What we're going to start doing, hopefully next week, is we're going to start to have guests, both external and internally. So you'll be hearing from our internal analysts and external guests as well. They'll be joining me to do our morning call together. And also, if you're new here, again, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. And also, as every day, please, everyone, subscribe. Give us a thumbs up like on this video and any other one that we might have. Oh, I see. That's Jeff. Okay. Anyway, Jeff, it's good to have you. I know JB is actually going to be on my Inner Circle members call here in just 15 minutes. So that's maybe why that was on my thing. But it's good to have you here, Jeff. Jeff has the initials of JB. Let's get started. So what are you looking at here? Well, this morning we had a consumer price index report, which came in basically in line. If you were to look at the data, you would see that, again, mostly in line, which is to say that inflation wasn't any hotter. It wasn't a whole lot cooler either. And so what the algorithms typically do is they automatically buy. There's really no questions asked. Automatically things get bought. And that's okay. But that's also exactly why we have our extreme overbought and extreme oversold indicator. Our vertical X Pro indicator, which is exactly what we use for these kind of situations, is part of our trifecta. Remember, here at thesteadytrader.com, we have a repeatable process, a process that includes three things: extreme overbought, oversold, momentum, and trend following. Those three things. So in this case, this morning, you can see our vertical X Pro indicator gave us not only a buy signal from a momentum perspective, so we received a momentum signal before the print, but then we got an extreme oversold signal. You can see it literally top ticked. Now, it doesn't mean that the NASDAQ has to fall apart here. It just means that it's overbought. So I definitely don't want to buy it here right now, intraday, right? Like right now. So that's what's going on here. So what happens from here? Let's go on to the daily chart, and I'll give you some perspective before we look at a bit of a broader base of charts in a few minutes as well. So let's start off with yields. As you guys have hopefully heard me say before, and unless you're, of course, brand new here today, I do think ultimately we are going to go into, actually, one second, guys, a bit loud here. All right, sorry, loud ass ambulances. Hope everyone's okay there. What we keep sort of thinking about is that bond yields are going to go lower, and this is the 2-year yield. I have not yet taken a position into. I had an initial try at 2-year yields. Basically, I bought futures a few months ago, and I think it was May or something at the initial attempt. Didn't really work out, and I'm still not quite there yet. I've got to alert. In fact, I have to set in a new alert. I think at this point, if we see yields break below 3.65 or so percent, that might be my clue to go long 2-year note futures, meaning basically making the bet that yields go lower. But I'm not quite there yet. So we're waiting for that. As far as the equity market is concerned, though, here is, I think, something really important to be aware of. This here is the chart of the S&P 500 at the bottom. So the regular S&P 500 SPY at the bottom. And if you look at what's called the x-axis on the chart here, which is the bottom, the horizontal axis, you can see that the regular S&P 500 broke out in late June of this year, and since then is higher. In fact, since the breakout, the S&P is now up about 4%. The equally weighted S&P 500 has not yet broken out above its 2024 highs. Now, the reason why this is important is because it once again shows us that there's the mega cap tech stocks, basically NVIDIA, is leading here, which is good if we're long the S&P, but it's also telling us that a lot of stocks are not actually participating, right? And we can measure that here at thesteadytrader.com with our market rover, our trend following process, which tells us very clearly that right now, for example, and I'm going to talk about this more extensively in our Inner Circle member session in a few minutes, we have 6 sectors that are bullish trend, but the rest of them are either neutral or outright bearish. So this makes this market a little bit more fragile once again, because if NVIDIA doesn't continue to pump higher at the rate at which it has, and that's an if, right? I'm skeptical that it will, but I want to be open-minded as well and fair, but it has to, I keep saying this, tech has to continue to outperform. Now, the reality is that even though tech is doing well and the S&P is up again, what I keep mentioning to people, and I purposely point this out pretty much every single day here in the morning call, because I know most people still have either certainly don't care, and even if they do, they're not hearing it because hasn't mattered yet. But just keep in mind that if you look at this chart here, it's going to tell you everything that you need to know. Yes, Mag 7 stocks are doing well. The S&P, the NASDAQ is up 12% on the year. But notice that they're basically dead last for the most part compared to many other things. And so, in fact, the S&P itself is up on the year now about 9%, right? So it's not like the S&P is doing badly. It's just that it is actually lagging behind most other things. And that is typically a start of a rotation, very, very slowly, that leads to a new rotation, new leadership. If you've been with us for longer than a cup of coffee, then you have heard us talk about, hard assets, copper, silver, more value international stocks, uranium, all those kinds of things, which are leading year to date, like beating the S&P like hand over fist. It's not even close. And that's what we're seeing as a confirmation. And another way of looking at it is by just looking at this chart here, which again tells you that the equally weighted S&P 500, which is the top chart here, it's not able to make new highs. It only will be able to make new highs probably if the whole market, including tech, goes higher. And that's the real conundrum here. Like, if we see market breadth expand, will the rest of the market outside of AI be strong enough to lift the entire S&P? Mathematically, I've been saying this for probably 2 years now, it is mathematically actually impossible right now for the S&P to go up unless AI, basically mega cap tech, to also not just perform, but almost outperform for a period of time. And they have outperformed for the past 3 months. That's why the S&P is once again up. So you just have to keep in mind, like, you know, it's fun to write these trends while they're happening, but they can unwind so quickly. And I just want to at least give people a bit of risk management sort of, you know, warning signal, for lack of a better term, that there is, it's not as bullish in my view as it might seem on the surface. So that's as far as that goes. So that CPI, quick update there. In fact, let's see what the equity market's doing here. If it's see, we're still getting. So again, you can see here what's happened this morning with the Vertical X Pro. Still very overbought. So it told us not to buy up here. And if anything, maybe short the market for very short. It's intraday here, right? So I'll be watching this very, very closely here today. Now that CPI is out of the way, we have the producer price index on Thursday. Today is Tuesday, so day after tomorrow, and typically that's not as important as a CPI. So I think fund managers are going to have to make up their mind here over the next day or two whether they want to continue buying this. Last thing I want to quickly bring up is if you have the trend or momentum indicator, which is the indicator that gave us that buy signal right there this morning, and then the S&P rallied, you know, like 75 basis points really quickly this morning. It continues to act really, really well and give us a lot of momentum buy signals or momentum sell signals. Like, for example, we talked about cannabis stocks just yesterday here. And, you know, if you might recall, we talked about the MSOS ETF. Now, listen, it might be getting a bit overbought here in the near term. That's entirely possible. But you can see the momentum signals that we keep getting. We received a momentum buy signal, profit target, momentum sell signal, profit target, momentum buy signal, profit target, and now the trailing stop. Now, the situation in cannabis stocks is coming, the move here. I mean, this thing was up 25% yesterday. The ticker symbol is MSOS. I'm going to quickly give you MSOS. I'm going to give you that ticker symbol. This is the U.S. cannabis listed ETF. Again, the momentum remains very, very strong. Now, to give you some perspective in the big picture, could this go higher? Well, first of all, remember there's now a lot of headline risk. It's basically at the mercy of the administration to see if they want to make this a less sort of dangerous drug from a classification perspective. But if you look at cannabis stocks like this MSOS ETF, you will find, if you look at it closely, that we're really just now getting to the point where we're kind of back to sort of square, right? Square one, where cannabis is now no longer oversold, but if it wants to start building upon a better move, it now might slowly over time turn into a more of a bullish trend. And that's what we use our market rover, our trend following process for. So right now, to give you an idea on this, as you saw, we've got very, very bullish momentum according to our trender signal, which came on July 2nd. And since then, MSOS is now up 95 or something percent. But if you look at the market rover, which is our trend following, right? That's the three things we do: trend following, momentum, and extreme overbought oversold. You will see that even though we're no longer in a bearish trend, cannabis is absolutely not in a bullish trend. It's just in a neutral trend now. So if I'm looking for an investment or something that's going to have a more steady up move over the course of months and years, we're nowhere near. All we have so far is a momentum move, which is the one that we captured with the trender momentum indicator. Speaking of trender momentum indicator, if you are a momentum trender indicator owner, we're going to see you today at 11 o'clock at Eastern, so that's in an hour and 3/4 for a deep dive session on that. I'm looking forward to giving you more. So I would, for today's playbook, I'm going to watch very, very closely if the equity market is going to be able to hold these gains here this morning. We'll be using our gap strategy for that this morning to see if there's a gap fill. Right now, the NASDAQ 100 is gapping up about 40 basis points, so 0.4%. So we'll be doing that over in trade ops as well. So we'll see you guys on the inside, all members. If you are here in Set the Market and you want to come back tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock Eastern is where we go live again. So thanks for being here. See you guys on the inside or back here tomorrow morning. Again, please make sure you subscribe to the channel, Give us a thumbs up, like. There's a lot of great podcasts, daily content we post here on the YouTube channel as well. So thanks for being here, and we'll see you guys on the inside or back here tomorrow morning. Take care.